July 31st through August 3rd, the Montessori community from the United States and around the world will be convening in Portland, Oregon for the 2013 International Montessori Congress. With me today is Glenn Goodfellow, the Congress Administrator. He's going to share a little bit about the event. Glenn, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Glenn, why don't you just start out by telling us what exactly is the Montessori Congress?
Sure. As you said, my name is Glenn Goodfellow, and I am the Administrator for the International Montessori Congress, which is a large-scale education conference that's taking place here in the United States. And we say it's one part education conference as you think of it, as programming, keynote speakers, and such. And then it's also one part cultural celebration of the city that is hosting the conference. And in this case, Portland, Oregon, my hometown.
Perfect. And anybody that's never been to Portland, Oregon in the summertime, it's about as close to paradise as you can find. So would highly recommend that you come.
That is true. The other 9.5 months of the year, our weather is a little less desirable. But when you're going to be here for the conference, it's perfect.
It's perfect. What exactly is the history of the International Montessori Congress? When was it started? Who started it? And why was it started?
Good questions. We get that question a lot, especially in the United States. And that is because the International Montessori Congress is an event that was started by Dr. Montessori herself in the 20s. It was actually started at the same time when she launched this idea of an organization that would oversee Montessori at a time when her name was being used in ways that she didn't think was appropriate. So it's when AMI was launched simultaneously in the late 20s. And since then, it has created an event. We joke sometimes internally, it's like the Olympics, where it happens about every 4 years. It usually happens on a different continent every time. And it kind of travels around the world. It's hosted by different cities. And so the United States has not hosted the International Montessori Congress since the 70s, so it's been 30-plus years, which is why most people are not really familiar with it. And so since it was started in the 20s, the event takes place, like I said, about every 4 years, and they really kind of use that as an opportunity to galvanize, portions of the world and the country to come together, and they typically choose a theme or something that's really relevant that people are kind of dealing with at the time. And so it's kind of used as a touchstone for the entire community.
And what is the theme this year?
Guided by Nature.
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. The Congress Organizing Committee chose Guided by Nature with in mind the fact that the word nature is multifaceted for us Montessorians. And so people think of Portland, Oregon as one of the most sustainable cities, right at the base of Mount Hood and its beautiful greenery. And certainly our nature, capital N, is all around us with our sustainability. And then also Montessorians think about the nature of learning, how we learn and how our education model is based around that and the development of our brains. And so we intentionally chose a theme that was open enough to allow for a variety of interpretations on what that meant for different people. And for people who work with quote-unquote special needs children or people that work with doing ecological sustainability in the classroom, we wanted to make sure that they had a framework to plug into that wasn't too limiting, but then also was still really steeped in Montessori pedagogy.
Interesting. How many people are you expecting at the event?
Well, that is a good question. The United States has more Montessorians than any other country in the world, which is wonderful. And then trying to guess how many folks will come is always the question. I joke a little bit. It's like having a birthday party, and you wonder if anybody's going to come. And so, as it is right now, we're over the 2,000 mark, and we're kind of expecting probably between 2,400 and 2,500.
Wow, it's going to be fun for sure. What are some of the highlights in terms of guest speakers or events that you're having that people can look forward to?
Well, people often ask, what's the big draw? What are we all looking for? And the first thing I always make reference is the fact that the Montessori Congress, it's open to all Montessorians, and that's kind of an unsung hero portion of the conference. And so it's been closely linked to AMI because they have been the organization maintaining the tradition since it was started by Montessori herself in the 20s. But so the organization that organized the conference, I'm based here out of the Teacher Training Center, Montessori Northwest here in Portland. We have worked so diligently and so passionately alongside so many wonderful organizations like AMI, like AMS, like MEPI, like all the different affiliate organizations within AMI, to really kind of create programming and an event that's totally inclusive. And so anybody who's interested in Montessori education is able to come. With that said, it would be a shame to overlook some of the bells and whistles that the Congress is able to kind of pull out. People look to the event really to kind of be a showcase of Montessori, and so that does involve listening to some of the most dynamic and exciting presentations from around the world. People like Vandana Shiva, ecofeminist, or Paul Hawken, or Brian Swim, really kind of truly top-notch keynote addresses. And there's a keynote address from a non-Montessorian and a Montessorian each day. So you really get a real foundation in the theme, and then also from a Montessorian's perspective on that theme. And then there are over 70, I think 75 different breakout sessions from which attendees have the opportunity to choose, which is really nice because unlike maybe, say, if you're familiar with the tract, when it's like, I work with this age children and therefore I will attend these programs, you can say, you know, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a lot of theories. I'm going to go only to the theory workshops. No, I'm looking for more lighthearted, more hands-on activities. No, I'm looking for more nature outings. And so the program is intentionally built to kind of keep that all open. And also around the conference, because we interpret the Congress as not only just about Montessori education, but also about featuring what makes the host city so fun. We have nature outings planned. We have the catering provides, local vineyards doing the wine. We have entertainment coming in for the parties. And there's just all sorts of fun stuff, lots of public events that are taking place. You'll notice when you come to Portland, Oregon right now, big Montessori banners on all the street posts. And when the train goes by, you see the word Montessori. And so the whole city is just really rallying up for the conference to start.
And if I understand correctly, there is a huge party at the end of this event. I don't know if I want to call it a party, a gala.
The gala sounds so much more formal and official. It sounds a little stodgy too, but so it really is not. The whole event culminates, if you ever have gone to a conference, by the end of it, everybody kind of looks like zombies because they've taken in so much information and our brains are just really saturated with great stuff. And so we are so excited that the conference culminates in the Gala Portlandia. And so it's going to be a huge party. And it's exciting, too, because people are able to purchase tickets for folks that did not attend the conference to come. So a lot of people are bringing spouses and friends and other people in the community. And so, yeah, it's going to feature all sorts of local foods. There's going to be local entertainment. There's going to be wild animals. There's going to be all sorts of fantastic stuff. Totally fabulous.
Guest appearance by Fred Armisen as well.
It's funny, we chose the name based off of Australia, which is a country that hosted a previous Congress, and theirs was Australiana. And so we had chosen Portlandia years and years ago, long before that show had taken off. And so it's funny, since its creation, people will often ask if they're doing filming or we're going to have the theme of the show, which maybe for the next conference here in Portland, we'll organize that.
I like it. So just so everybody's clear, you don't have to have a specific Montessori training. You don't even have to be a Montessori teacher necessarily to attend the Congress.
Exactly. To hit the nail, really on the head, it's that we say, this conference is for anybody who's interested in Montessori education. Because the conference is being organized by so many different types of Montessorians, so many people that are passionate about education and the specific way that Montessorians do it, we say they have their own annual conferences. That is exactly the place where they should be going to connect with their specific communities, reinforce their pedagogy, and kind of go over the basics of what it means to be their kind of Montessorian. The Montessori Congress is more general. It's open to all Montessorians. And in the United States, and really in the world, this is the largest conference open to anybody interested in Montessori education in the world.
How long have you and your team been preparing for the event?
Oh, I was just thinking about this, knowing that when I first started, when I was hired by Montessori Northwest, the training center here in Portland, I had a countdown little dry erase board next to my desk, and the number was 998 days away, which is a very funny date when, it's 998 days away. And now that I think we're probably 18 days away, I have quickly removed that countdown because it's a little pressing. But I would say, and really the work had begun from the teacher trainers and the staff here at the training center before I was hired. So I would say it's been over 3 years. It's almost been since the last conference was held, it immediately started segueing into the amount of work that would need to take place to organize this one.
Wow. Well, for people that are coming, is there any pertinent information that you'd like to give them about transportation, public transportation, hotels, anything at all?
I would say we'll be sending out a handful of emails via the Congress newsletter, which you can sign up for online. If you've not already signed up for that, that's how we're going to be disseminating most of the important information. We do have some information about transit. Everybody who attends the conference gets a free transit pass, so you don't have to drive anywhere. Just some details on the hotel. There's some school tours that people have some questions about. So the Congress website is the best place to go.
And what is that website?
It is www.montessoricongress.org.
And is it still available for people to sign up?
It sure is. Registration, the standard price is about to end. It ends on Friday. So there's a couple more days to register online. And then what we'll do is we will actually shut down the online system, meaning you cannot register for the next couple weeks because we're getting all the paperwork and things in place for on-site registration to begin. But just a heads up for folks that it will cost $75 more if you register on site. So it's just easier and will make your life just less cumbersome to register online.
So if you'd like to come, person who's listening right now, who's on the fence, do it now because you're going to save yourself $75.
Yes. There is some urgency to that. So yes, you save your money, you get your ducks all in a row, and then when you show up in Portland, Oregon, you just hit the ground running and you get to enjoy the Congress.
Boy, I think you and I should be like NPR people where we're getting people to pledge on the radio because we're pretty good at this.
We've got this down. Well, and I will say after, 998 days of working with the Congress, I've been asked these questions a couple times, so I feel like I can I can answer them. And you know what? The event really is going to be totally spectacular, and so it's fun to be part of the planning and to be able to kind of convince people. And also just because a lot of people don't realize it's open to everybody, and so it's like, oh, that's this kind of a conference. You're like, nope. This is a conference you can attend with no training.
Absolutely. The guest is Glenn Goodfellow, Congress Administrator for the 2013 International Montessori Congress, which will be held July 31st through August 3rd in beautiful Portland, Oregon. Again, if you have any questions, want to register, want any information, you can go to montessoricongress.org. Glenn, thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me.